Thank you. Thank you. You know, it's funny. I used to think the scariest thing in life was dying. Turns out it's never truly living. And that fear, that subtle creeping doubt that tells you you're not enough, not smart enough, not talented enough, not lovable enough. That's the real villain, the real phantom behind the curtain. But here's the great cosmic joke. You are the one behind the curtain. You are the magician. You are the painter of your reality. And the brush, it's always been in your hand. I want to start by saying something radical. You don't need a plan for your life. I know. Shocking. Every motivational speaker out there has a 5-step plan, a 10-point checklist, a color-coded graph with arrows and a pie chart of your purpose. But I'm here to tell you, you don't need a plan. You need presence. You need permission from yourself and to be who you really are. Now you might be thinking, well, Jim, that's easy for you to say. You're a movie star. You made it. And yes, I did make it, if making it means crying on the floor of a 10,000 square foot mansion, wondering why I still felt empty. I had everything: money, fame, recognition, and I had nothing. You see, the world will hand you trophies while your soul hands you a mirror. And if you look into that mirror and don't recognize the person staring back, none of those trophies matter. None of it means a damn thing. I chased validation. I chased it so far I forgot who I was. I thought becoming famous would finally quiet that voice inside me, the one that whispered I was just a scared little boy in a man's body trying to be enough. But here's what I learned. You can't run from yourself. You carry yourself into every room. You bring your essence into every relationship. And until you accept yourself, fully, wildly, unapologetically, the world can't either. You have to be willing to be seen, not the version you've curated for Instagram, not the one you show to the world when you're trying to impress. I'm talking about the real you, the you who's cried themselves to sleep, the you who has failed, been rejected, been heartbroken, the one who's scared and scarred and still trying. That's the most powerful person in the room because they're real. Let me tell you a secret. Fear is a liar. It will wear disguises, logic, practicality, responsibility. But underneath it all is one simple question it asks you over and over. What if you're not enough? And the answer? You already are. You've always been. There was never a moment when you weren't enough. You were just taught to believe otherwise. I remember when I wrote myself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered and post-dated it 5 years into the future. Every night I'd drive up Mulholland Drive and look at that check. I was broke. I had nothing. But I believed, not in a delusional way, in a divine way. I knew that the energy I put out into the world would reflect back. I knew that if I aligned with my purpose, if I showed up as my true self, the universe would meet me there. And it did. But I'll be honest with you, the money was never the reward. It's not about the check. It's not about the red carpets or standing ovations. It's about becoming so aligned with who you are that nothing outside of you can shake what's inside you. It's about the liberation of dropping the mask. And let me tell you something. I wore a lot of masks, literal ones. The Mask, Ace Ventura, Fire Marshal Bill. But the biggest one was Jim Carrey, the character I created to survive. See, Jim Carrey was my armor. He was loud, funny, wild, a tornado of distraction. But under the chaos was a deep yearning to be seen, to be loved not for the laughter I could create, but for the silence I could share. And it took me decades to realize you are most powerful not when you're performing, but when you're present. Your job in this life isn't to become something. It's to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. You are not your job. You are not your bank account. You are not your achievements. You are the light that shines through all those things. You are a soul having a human experience, and every moment, every one, is a chance to remember that. People ask me, what's the secret to success? And I say, forget success. Chase authenticity. Be so real that it makes people uncomfortable. Be so true to yourself that it disrupts the lie of conformity around you. Don't just live. Don't just exist. Express. Expand. Explore. You are not here to please others. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be love, to radiate it, to give it freely without expectation. The universe doesn't reward the perfect. It rewards the present. It rewards those who show up messy, honest, human. We are all artists, every one of us, and our life is the canvas. The question is, what are you painting? Are you painting fear, doubt, scarcity? Or are you painting joy, truth, freedom, the power of nothing to lose? Let's go a little deeper. You know, when I was growing up, my family hit hard times. Real hard. My dad, the funniest man I ever knew, lost his job, and we lived out of a van for a while. I'm not saying that for sympathy. I'm saying it because struggle was my greatest teacher. It showed me something essential. Safety is an illusion. Stability, a myth. You can play it safe your whole life and still lose. So why not take the chance on doing what you love? My father could have been a great comedian, but he didn't believe that was possible for him. So he chose a safe job as an accountant. And when he was let go from that safe job, our family had to do whatever it took to survive. That moment changed me. I realized that fear is going to be part of the journey no matter what path you take. So you might as well choose the one that lights you up. Let's get real. So many of us are waiting for something external to validate our internal truth. Waiting for a sign, waiting for the right time, waiting for someone to say, it's okay now, you're ready. But here's the truth. No one is coming to save you because you don't need saving. You need awakening. You need remembering. When you realize you've got nothing to lose, you're free. When you stop gripping so tightly to what people think, to outcomes, to titles and opinions and status, the weight falls away. That's when you soar. That's when you finally hear the whisper of your soul, which has been talking to you this whole time, but the noise of expectation drowned it out. I've had moments where I stood in front of the mirror, not as a character, not as a celebrity, but just as a man. And I asked, if none of this worked out, the career, the fame, the movies, would I still matter? The answer, after all the layers peeled away, was yes, because I am not these things. I am the awareness behind them. I am the presence that animates them. And so are you. Your value is not determined by how many followers you have, how many likes your last post got, or how successful the world says you are. Your value is intrinsic, unshakable. You are worthy because you exist. Nothing more, nothing less. Let that sink in. I spent years trying to fill a void with applause, but applause fades. The lights dim, the curtains close, and all that's left is you. That's why inner peace is everything. That's why silence is sacred. That's why you must learn to sit with yourself and not flinch. You are not behind. You're not late. You're not off track. You're becoming. And becoming is messy. It's uncertain. It's chaotic. But it's beautiful. You see, the world is obsessed with doing, accomplishing, hustling. But what if your greatest accomplishment isn't what you do, but who you become? What if success isn't found in achievement, but in alignment? When you're aligned with your truth, doors open. Not always the ones you expect, but always the ones you need. We chase dreams thinking they'll complete us. But dreams don't complete you. They reveal you. The pursuit shapes you. The process humbles you. The obstacles refine you. And when you realize that, You stop needing the destination to justify the journey. You start falling in love with the becoming. Don't fear rejection. Rejection is redirection. It's the universe saying, there's something better. Don't fear failure. Failure is feedback. It's wisdom. It's the fastest teacher. And don't fear starting over. The most powerful stories are born in reinvention. The key is not to eliminate fear. That's impossible. The key is to build a bigger why. A why so strong that it carries you through the fear, through the doubt, through the days you want to give up. You know what I've learned? The people who change the world are not fearless. They're just willing to look foolish, willing to try, willing to be seen. They're not perfect, they're present. And let me tell you something, presence is your superpower. When you're fully here, not trapped in regret about yesterday or fear about tomorrow, you tap into infinite possibility. Because life doesn't happen in the past or the future, it happens now. How many of us are sleepwalking through our lives, rushing from one moment to the next, checking boxes, chasing approval, numbing pain, missing the miracle right in front of us? Stop, breathe, look around. You're alive. That alone is extraordinary. This, this moment is your life. Not some future version of you with everything figured out. Not some highlight reel you're chasing. This breath, this heartbeat, this laugh. This is it. So ask yourself, what are you waiting for? Permission? Give it to yourself. Perfection? It's a lie. Stop chasing it. Guarantees? There are none. And that's what makes life beautiful. I know what it's like to doubt your worth. I've battled depression. I've faced darkness. I've stared into the abyss and wondered if I'd ever feel light again. Let's talk about smallness, because that's what many of us do, right? We shrink. We compress ourselves to fit into someone else's idea of who we should be. We play small so we don't intimidate. We mute ourselves so others don't feel insecure. We pretend to be less so we don't come off as too much. And it's exhausting, not just emotionally but spiritually. You weren't meant to be small. That's not your design. That's not your essence. You were born from stardust, from the same fabric that built galaxies, the same force that makes trees grow and oceans move. And somewhere along the line, you were convinced to tone it down. But I'm here to tell you, don't you dare. Don't you dare shrink so someone else can feel big. Don't you dare settle because someone told you to be realistic. Don't you dare sit quietly in the back row of your own life. You were meant to stand center stage in your truth. You were meant to blaze, to roar, to radiate. Let me say something radical. You're not too much. The world's expectations are too little. There were times in my life when I felt I had to be on all the time. Jim Carrey, the comedian, the performer, the entertainer. And for a long time, I thought that's what people needed from me. But the truth is, I was hiding behind the jokes, behind the energy, behind the wild, brilliant insanity. Don't get me wrong, I love that guy. But he was also a mask I wore to avoid being seen fully. And here's what I realized after years of pushing, performing, and pretending. Authenticity is louder than any punchline. It vibrates at a frequency people can feel. And when you're authentic, when you're aligned, people don't just hear you, they experience you. When you speak from your soul, when you show up raw, unpolished, real, you give everyone around you permission to do the same. That's your real gift. Not perfection, not polish. Presence. You don't need to wait until you're better to begin. That version of you that exists now, the one with fear, with pain, with questions, is still powerful beyond measure. Why? Because you're honest. And in a world full of masks, honesty is rebellion. So let's rebel. Let's throw out the rule book of who we're supposed to be. Let's write a new story. One where your flaws are not failures, but features. Where your wounds are not weaknesses, but windows. Where your doubts don't disqualify you, they deepen you. We are told we need to prove ourselves. But who are you proving it to? Who gets to decide whether you're worthy? Here's the truth. You have nothing to prove. Not to your parents, not to your peers, not to strangers on the internet. The universe didn't create you to be liked. It created you to live, to burn, to breathe, to be. We live in a world obsessed with image, with looking the part. But you know what's more powerful than looking the part? Being the part. You don't need a filter. You need fire. You don't need a brand. You need bravery. And I know what you might be thinking. But Jim, I'm not special. I'm ordinary. I'm just trying to get through the day. And to that I say, ordinary is an illusion. Every soul is extraordinary. Every person is a miracle walking around in skin. Don't believe me? Think of your heart. That thing beats over 100,000 times a day without you telling it to. Think of your lungs expanding, contracting, fueling your body with life. You are a walking symphony, and yet somehow you've been convinced you're not enough? Let me remind you, you are not a mistake. You are not a glitch. You are not an accident. You are a deliberate act of creation, a masterpiece in motion. But here's the secret nobody tells you. Even masterpieces get messy. You'll have days where you question everything, days where you break down, days where you feel lost. That's not failure. That's formation. That's the clay of your character being molded into something stronger, truer, deeper. Don't run from those days. Embrace them. Sit in the discomfort. Let it teach you, because every breakdown carries the seed of a breakthrough. And while we're at it, can we stop pretending we have it all figured out? Nobody does. The most successful people you admire, they're winging it. They have doubts. They make mistakes. The difference is, they move anyway. They act before they're ready. They leap before they have the full map. That's what courage is. Not certainty, but movement in the face of uncertainty. If you're waiting to feel ready before you take the next step, let me save you time. You'll wait forever. Readiness doesn't come first. Action does. You build the wings on the way down. You are not behind. You are right on time. Right now, at this very moment, someone is watching you. Not because you're famous, not because you're perfect, but because you're real. Because you dared to show up. Because you dared to speak. Because you exist. Be the light that awakens the world. Let's take it home. We've talked about fear, authenticity, smallness, purpose, and all the beautiful mess that comes with being alive. But now we need to talk about light, because that's what you are. That's what you've always been. A light, a lamp in the darkness, a spark in a world too often asleep. The most powerful thing you can ever become is yourself, fully, freely, without apology. And let me tell you something. The world is starving for people like that. You don't have to be loud to shine. You don't have to be famous to lead. You don't have to have it all figured out to make an impact. You just have to be honest. Honest with yourself, honest with the world, honest about what you feel, what you dream, what you fear, what you love. Because truth is the vibration that heals everything. You may not realize this, but your healing heals others. Your courage encourages others. Your presence inspires presence in everyone around you. That's the chain reaction of authenticity. That's the ripple effect of light. And that light, it doesn't come from success. It doesn't come from money, trophies, or standing ovations. It comes from alignment, from knowing who you are and walking in that identity regardless of who's watching. It comes from no longer needing the world's approval to breathe freely. When I stopped living for applause and started living for truth, that's when my life changed. That's when peace found me. That's when the noise quieted. Because I wasn't trying to win anymore. I was trying to wake up. This life, it's not about climbing a ladder. It's about tearing the ladder down. It's not about becoming more important. It's about becoming more real, more human, more you. When you chase status, you stay hungry. When you chase purpose, you stay full. Now I know people think I'm some mystic joker floating around in some other dimension. But here's the deal. The deeper I went into myself, the more I realized that the roles we play, son, daughter, parent, worker, boss, artist, influencer, they're just masks, useful sometimes, but not the essence. The essence is presence, stillness, awareness, the silent I am behind the noise of thought. You are not your job. You are not your failures. You are not your past. You are the space in which it all happens, the light that sees, the awareness that watches, and once you tap into that awareness, you realize nothing can really harm you. When I experienced that, I lost my fear of death because I realized there's no such thing as death, only transition. The form may change, but the essence, it continues, it expands. We are energy, my friend, infinite, eternal, powerful energy, temporarily wrapped in skin, bone, breath, and time. So while you're here, use it. Use your time to love fully, to create boldly, to live truthfully. Don't just survive, express. Don't just function, dance. This is your masterpiece. This one life. Don't wait for the perfect moment to paint it. Use every color, even the dark ones, especially the dark ones, because they give depth to your light. Your sadness, it adds contrast to your joy. Your heartbreak, it opens space for compassion. Your uncertainty, it leads to curiosity. Your failures, they fertilize your growth. Nothing is wasted. Not a single moment. Not a single tear. Not a single mistake. It's all part of the sculpture being carved, the soul being revealed. You don't need to run anymore. You don't need to chase anymore. You don't need to earn what you already are. You are already worthy, already enough, already beautiful in your own right. You are the art, the artist, and the act of creation, all in one breath. So what now? You go live, fully, freely, fiercely. You go speak your truth, even if your voice shakes. You go try the thing, even if you might fail. You go love the person, even if your heart breaks. You go build the dream, even if no one understands it. You go walk into your own soul and say, I'm home. Because the world doesn't change by force, it changes by frequency. And when you raise yours through joy, through kindness, through presence, you lift everyone around you without saying a word. It's not about shouting louder. It's about vibrating deeper. Your light is your leadership. Your peace is your protest. Your joy is your revolution. Be the person who wakes up the world just by being themselves. You don't need a spotlight. You are the spotlight. You don't need a platform. Your life is the platform. You don't need permission. This is your permission slip. So paint your reality, not in beige, not in safety, not in shame, but in electric, unapologetic color. Paint it with laughter. Paint it with grief. Paint it with passion. Paint it with curiosity. Paint it with the courage to begin again and again and again. And when you get tired, because you will get tired, rest, not quit. Even the sun takes a break. Even the waves retreat before returning stronger. You don't have to glow all the time. You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You just have to be, in your rawness, in your rough edges, in your unfinished glory. So let this be the moment you drop the mask, the moment you stop waiting, The moment you say, this is who I am, this is what I carry, and I'm not hiding anymore. This is your moment to rise.